Tinkerbell, all right. She's a very mad person, a mad fairy, and this is good. The lesson here is that being mad is good, because being mad shows that you care. When you're angry about something, you're inspired to do something about it, to change it. So what are some things that we should be mad about in life? That's the question. Gavin McCain, he said, I am too mad to joke around these days. That's what he said in a recent video. And this is, I don't like when people try to make life into a joke and they make everything all a joke. Like everything, they turn everything into a joke. It's their general attitude. And some people do this. It's just like in their personality to make everything a freaking joke. They don't have any seriousness. I hate that. And there's too much of that around these days. So now is the time to stop joking around and get mad. Get angry about something and do something. Because there's a lot to get angry about. Here's one thing we get angry about is that, I've talked about this a few times, is Europe is basically self-destroying. They're self-destructing because they're just letting in masses and masses of waves of migrants, and these migrants are not willing to assimilate, and they basically just gather together in little enclaves, and then they try to enforce their little Sharia law, and it's like, why? If that's how these people are going to behave, why let them over in the first place? They don't care about Western values for the most part. I mean, some of them, there's exceptions, but why not just let them do their thing over there in a different place, you know, the Middle East or wherever, and then, you know, that way Europeans can have a Europe for themselves and not have their whole culture get destroyed. So that's very simplistic, but basically multiculturalism is not what it's all cracked up to be, and there are huge problems, people. Huge problems. So that's something to get angry about, because as you let in all these refugees, a lot of them aren't even refugees. They're just wanting to exploit the welfare system wherever, but there's going to be terrorists that'll slip through the cracks. There's going to be jihad, you know, people, martyrs wanting to get into the paradise, and so they're going to be blowing themselves up at Ariana Grande concerts, and you're just going to see this repeated again and again and again, because these Europeans, I mean, it's not happening here to the extent that it's happening there, so it's not like affecting me, but it's like, it bothers me. I don't want to see them destroy themselves. So those Europeans need to wise up, and like, they should have voted in Marie Le Pen, but they voted in this other stupid guy that is a globalist, and he's just wanting to open the borders. That is not good, people. That's not good. So, but of course, you know, not all. There's a lot of the migrants I'm sure they're really great people, and they have nothing to do with terrorism, so let's remember that as well. But anyways, Gavin McCain said, I want the world to see a maimed 13-year-old girl with nails in her head. And the reason he said that is because the media likes to censor things. The media won't show you these victims who died in the Manchester bombing, you know, bloodied up with nails in their head and dead bodies. They're not going to show you that. But that's actually what people need to see. People need to see the uncensored reality so that they can get angry. Because that's what's going to make people angry, is if they see the dead bodies, if they see the gore and the victims. So I think this is a good idea. There should be a website dedicated to showing like the true uncensored reality, where people can actually get angry. All right, here's something we get angry about. The cancer industry. Basically, cancer's become an industry, and they're feeding off of sick people, profiting off of sickness, pumping children with chemotherapy. This kid's about to be pumped with chemotherapy, and it's going to destroy his body. The cancer's probably going to come back, you know, 3 or 4 years later. It's going to, because they never addressed the root of the problem, which is probably vaccines. This kid probably got his little cancer because he was vaccinated by his dumb parents that are ignorant, and they're killing their own kid. They're feeding him junk food, feeding his cancer. And, you know, the medical system just profits off all of this. It's corruption. It's corruption because there are legitimate treatments of cancer to treat cancer, natural herbs. There's stuff that you could really fight off cancer, but you're not going to hear that in the mainstream media because they're just a bunch of brainwashed sheeple. And here's something we get angry about. The government, it can get too big. And when the government gets too big, they'll, you know, a bunch of control freaks take away your freedom. And they'll try to, you know, with their FDA, and they'll just try to control your life and make it so that certain things are illegal, certain substances, certain natural herbs. They'll try to make all that stuff illegal because the government's a bunch of control freaks that basically, yeah, they're not happy just controlling their own lives. They want to step into all our lives and just it's not good. So we want a smaller government that's more libertarian minded. That's important for eternal life because one day the government could kill you. Remember that. The government, you know, could get so powerful, so big that they just freaking kill people. You know? Yeah. So got to be careful with the government. So now, see, there's only 3 things on my list. I was actually going to make a whole list. 13 things. I didn't get around to it. But look, here's one. I didn't put it in there. Aging. Aging should make us very angry. Aging should make us very, very angry because aging is killing us all. Aging killed Ronald Reagan. You know? He died of Alzheimer's disease. That's awful. That's one of my biggest fears is dying of Alzheimer's disease. Or dying of anything, but freaking, I don't want to lose my brain, you know? I don't want to lose my memories. I don't want to lose my consciousness. It's really awful.